As the Uruguayan curls one in. Oh, Middlesbrough take the lead!
So, Boro unfortunately didn't get the job done in our second leg at home to Coventry City, who did beat us by 1-0 with a Gus Harmer goal in the second half. And before I get into my thoughts on the game, my thoughts on the season going forward, etc., I just want to say, first and foremost, it has to be said, a huge congratulations to Coventry City. They, across the two legs, had our number. They had a game plan and a tactic, and especially last night, it was executed to absolute perfection. And you've got to just credit Mark Robins for how he set that side up last night. They did the perfect, I think, as close to perfect away performance in a second leg as such as this that I think you could ever hope to see. They defended for their lives, they pressed unbelievably well, and deserved it. They deserved the win, and I've got to congratulate them. I think their fans, both times they've come to Riverside, and not just this season, in past seasons, have been fantastic. One of the loudest and proudest sets of fans that we've had at the Riverside, and it's nice to see a club who has had so many off-field issues. At the start of this season, they didn't even have a ground to play their home games in, and I think we're 3 or 4 games behind everyone else and bottom of the league. After everyone else had played like 10 games, they played 7. So not just this season. They've had to borrow other club stadiums over the years, and to see a club who's had so much off the field issues and overcome so much kind of adversity, and yet still progress year on year is quite incredible. So you can only congratulate Mark Robins for that, and the fans, they're a great set of fans, and posted on Twitter last night how gutted I was, but congratulating Coventry, and they were very sort of gracious in victory, and I wish them all the best, and I'm rooting for them to beat Luton in the final, because I think their style of football is better to watch. I enjoy watching it more. I think they deserve a shot at the Premier League. I think they've got a ground built for it, a manager who can take them there, and a fan base who I think would love it. So huge congratulations to Coventry City. I wanted to just get that out of the way first. And as for Boro, well, it's devastating. Can't quite find the words for it, really. Was just gutted last night after the game. Watching the game, I don't think my heart rate dropped below 120 beats per minute for the whole of the first half. Might have even been more. It was an unbelievable atmosphere, one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen at the Riverside. The banners, the chants pre-match, during the game, loud and proud. The atmosphere was unreal, and I think we did all we could in terms of fans to try and help the side last night. But coming away from it today, I feel worse today than I did last night. I feel kind of empty and suffering from some kind of weird football hangover. I just don't feel any real emotion, just sort of exhausted and sapped of any real energy, and a bit of a sucker blow, I think, because it's not like we went to their ground in the second leg where they had home advantage and we were well beaten. It's not like we've played a team far superior in all departments and were well beaten. It was a ridiculously tight 2-legged affair, and it was a 50-50 game, really. It could have went either way, and to just fall slightly on the wrong side of it is gutting, really. And I feel like there is a sense of opportunity that's been missed here, because having Coventry at home in the final game of the season, given our home record, given our goal scoring record, the players we had in the team, you'd think we'd get that job done. And then Luton in the final, I think, is an easier game. Prior to the playoffs, a lot of Championship pundits said that Coventry were possibly the worst possible side for Boro to play against. I didn't really understand it at the time, and I was a bit sceptical, but over the 2 legs, that's come unbelievably true. They probably were the worst side for Boro to play in terms of how the two styles kind of counteracted each other. And I feel like if we'd have found a way through this on a big pitch at home, against Luton at Wembley, I feel like the opportunity there to go up was right in front of us. We just had to get over this one hurdle, and we'll have a look more in depth at the league and where it's finished and stuff, but there is a sense of the squad we have, the players we've had this season, the loan signings that have come in, and most of which have been amazing, having the top goal scorer, having the top assist player in the Championship, being one of the highest goal scorers, if not the highest goal scoring team. It felt like it was all there for us, and I think an opportunity has been missed big time here. But a little look at the game in its own sort of context and in isolation. We kind of knew how it would go. Like the first leg, Boro would have a lot of the ball. We'd be trying to find a way through Coventry's backline. They'd be looking to hit us on the counter attack with Gyökeres, playing it up to him. He'd hold it up and bring others into play. And it panned out exactly that. Boro had a lot of possession, a lot of the ball, working it side to side, but just could not get anywhere near the Coventry defence. I don't think I've seen many better defensive displays at the Riverside for a long time. It was, honestly, they were so well organised. Their pressing was perfect, like I say. They pressed when it was the right time to press. They sat off when it was the right time to sit off. Every time we went wide, crossed the ball in, they'd head it straight back out again. They set up with a tactic to just defend and try and get a goal wherever they could, and it worked absolutely perfectly. And for all of Boro's endeavour, we didn't really lay much of a glove on them in the first half. We got into a few decent positions, but barring a Darragh Lenihan header at the very end of the half, which was sort of comfortably saved, we didn't test Ben Wilson that much. And then in the second half, Boro weren't as good. I don't know if Coventry, I don't know if they sort of stepped onto us a bit more. They were a little bit more, not on the front foot, but I got the idea Boro didn't quite have as much time and space on the ball as they did in the first half. And again, it was a case of, would we break them down before they nicked a goal? And unfortunately for us, it was the latter. And it was, I think Akpom lost the ball in midfield. One ball over the top. Not many times had Gyökeres got in behind us. I think again McNair and Lenihan did exceptionally well to marshal him, but he got in behind us this time. Stefan come out. He had to make himself big. I'm not going to put too much blame on Stefan for this, because at the end of the day, Gyök was forced wide, laid it off to Gus Hamer, and the finish was ridiculous. He could have saw the keeper off his line and tried to instantly put it in. He could have lashed at it, but he didn't. Even with defenders in front of him, he took a second, shifted it right, composed himself, picked his spot and put it right in the top corner. And many other players might not have had the composure to do that at that moment, but it was under the circumstances, a very composed finish. There was a couple of Boro players in between him and the goal. If I had a few criticisms, I think Stefan could have maybe got back on his line, and I think McNair maybe was one, and whoever else was sort of in front of him, they could have thrown themselves in front of that shot. We had a shot, I think Force had one in the first half where Bidwell absolutely threw himself in front of it, and it was nowhere near as to the goal as this was, and the keeper was on his line and everything, but he threw himself in front of it to block the shot. And I feel like Boro's defence didn't quite have the same drive to stop the ball from going in our net as the Coventry players did theirs. And I feel like McNair could have quite easily, or Lenihan or anyone could have honestly threw themselves at the ball. It doesn't matter what body part it hits, get yourself in the way of it and stop it from getting on target. But they didn't, and it was pretty much a kind of free shot for him to pick his spot, and he did. And yeah, 1-0 down, a real blow, a real sucker punch. I mean, I as much as Coventry were dangerous on the counter, I didn't see it coming. I thought Boro were well in control of the game, and it was a game that could possibly have gone all the way. Maybe one moment of magic might have unlocked the door, but seeing that go in on 57 minutes was a real sickener, and you could feel it in the ground because the atmosphere up until that point was unlike anything I'd seen in a long time. From all stands, it was unbelievable, and it just sucked the life out of everyone in the ground. And you know, the boys and the fans quickly got back on, and we pushed the boys forward. We had a goal disallowed for offside again, like the first leg. It was offside. Crooks was the one who headed it in. He was offside. I think if Archer had been left to head that in, he would have been onside. We hit the bar, although that might have been offside. McGree had one off the line in the second half. You know, it was one of them where as the game went on, you just sort of saw us sort of getting near, off the line, offside. You're just thinking, it's just not meant to be this. It's just not going to go for us. And as many corners, free kicks we had, as much as we piled the pressure on, it was clear to me from like 75th minute onwards, it was just not meant to be. It just wasn't going to fall for us. We needed that little lucky bounce, ricochet, whatever, and it just didn't come our way. And you know, in all honesty, the way it was going, we could have been there all night and probably not scored. It was one of them, and Coventry hung on to nick the win. And yeah, it's an interesting one after the game because, like I said earlier, I do feel like this was a huge opportunity missed for Boro, and every possible stat was in our favour, and it was just the worst time for everything to kind of go wrong. You know, we've never had a game at home under Carrick where we've not scored until last night. Chuba Akpom's never had a goal drought under Carrick this long. He's now had 4 games without a goal. This is now his longest goal drought. You know, I don't think Coventry had won in Middlesbrough at the Riverside or Urson Park since 1993. They'd not won up here in 30 years until last night. I think the record books and everything favoured the team at home in the second leg, who were 3rd and 4th. And again, it did not go for us, and it felt like everything was set up. The stars had well and truly aligned for us last night. You know, the atmosphere, the fans, the way we were playing. There was not one part of me that didn't believe we could do it, and everything, like I say, was sort of leaning towards us, and that's what makes it even harder to take. Like I say, if we'd have got through last night and played Luton at Wembley, as I said in my predictions, I strongly believe, looking at the two styles, I think Luton's style fits perfectly for their ground. But we saw at Sunderland that they struggled on a bigger pitch, a wider pitch, against a team who were playing very expansive football, and I feel like we'd have had the same sort of luxury at Wembley, but it's not to be. And you know, we now have to sort of move on, and as you can see by the player ratings, there was a couple of good performers in there. I think the centre-backs, like I said, did well. Hackney rightfully had a good game. The front lads just didn't quite get into the game enough, and you can see by the Coventry ratings, they all were just unbelievably solid. One of the best defensive displays I've seen. Gus Harmer, question of whether he'd be fit, he was, and he played a huge part. You wouldn't be surprised to see the stats were pretty much the same as they were in the first leg. Boro had the better XG, more shots, more possession, but Coventry's game plan wasn't about that. It was absolutely played out to, perfectly for them. And we now have to look ahead because, you know, we've got a lot of loan signings who are going to go back to the parent clubs now. Stefan, Giles, Mowat, Archer, Ramsey, integral parts of the team, and we need to look ahead and try and find a way of replacing them or bringing them back. I'm going to do a video at some point in the next few weeks looking at the Boro squad and who I think we could get, who might come back, who might leave, and what the squad might look like going into next season. But yeah, we need to try and bring, I think, as many of them guys back as we can, because they fit the way we play. They know the club, they know Carrick. I think it's easier to try and get them back again than sign another player who's similar. But there's plenty of players in there who are going to need replacing, and we've got to find a way of going again. And looking at the table, looking at the teams who are coming down, one of either Luton or Coventry are going to be still in the league next season. Sunderland are probably going to be a much fiercer proposition. You'd expect West Brom, Watford, Swansea and Norwich to certainly have better seasons. I think even Ipswich coming up might be an outside contender for the playoffs. And then coming down, you've got Southampton, you've got Leicester, maybe Everton and Leeds, or Everton or Leeds. So I mean, it's going to be really, really difficult for us. But by the sounds of it, it looks like and sounds like by all of Carrick's post-match interviews that he's very much looking ahead to the future. There's a couple of fans panicking and worrying and have just assumed and made the assumption he's going to leave, which I don't see where they're getting that from, if I'm honest. He sounds more than committed to the cause for next season, and hopefully, like we did after we lost the playoff final in 2015, we can, just only strengthen the squad, better it, have a full season under this manager, and go one better next season like we did in 2015-16, and that was to go up automatically. And I think it's one of them, isn't it? In October, when we were in the relegation zone, when Carrick come in, if you'd have asked any Boro fan, you're going to be in the playoffs, they would have said, you're absolutely kidding, you're stupid, don't be daft, and they would have more than snapped your hand off for Boro to be in the playoffs at that point. But now we've been here, and we've been in a playoff 4 without any parachute payment sides, and a 50-50 home leg against Coventry, which we were favourites to win, top goal scorers in the league, not had a game at home where we hadn't scored under Carrick. You'd look at that and think, wow. And then Luton in the final, and to not score, what a time to be toothless, and what a time to have a performance like that, and over 2 legs just not be at it. And that's 5 playoff games in a row where Boro haven't scored, which is a little bit of a strange stat, and a bit of a worrying one. So we move on to next season. I will obviously be back in August with more Project Boroughs after the new season starts. I might even do a pre-season one, but as it stands at the moment, I'm sure it will look back in hindsight in a few weeks at the season overall, where we were to where we've got to, the trajectory we're on under Carrick. The football we're playing is honestly some of the best I've ever seen Boro play. There is a ridiculous number of positives, and by far more positives than negatives, and I'm sure we'll start to see them in the weeks coming when hindsight starts coming into it, and we can sort of look back on it, and the hurt from this settles down. But of course, it's going to take a few weeks, I think, to get over this and start looking ahead, because it does just feel like a ginormous opportunity missed. But Coventry had our number, and they've absolutely done one on us, and we just couldn't get near them. So we'll see where we're at, see how we recruit, see where we strengthen in the summer. Hopefully we bring back a couple of loan players and maybe a few permanents more so. Keep a lot of the spine of this side, improve defensively, I think is a big one. Going forward, I think there's not much we can improve on really overall, and I'm sure we'll start to see the positives going into the new season, where hopefully we'll go one better. But for now, this has not been a nice video to make. I'll congratulate Coventry once again. I'm rooting for them in the final, but I'm glad I've got this out of the way, because I was dreading making this video, but had to just vent and just get my thoughts out there. So please give it a like. I think appreciate that this is a awful video to make, so I'd appreciate a like. Subscribe as well. I mean, lots of football related content coming up over the summer, as well as I'll do a lot of gaming here on the channel as well. Comment below with your thoughts as a Boro fan, how you're feeling. I'm sure you're feeling gutted right now, but what positives do you see from the season? Where could we improve? What do you think went wrong? And where do you think we'll be next season? And of course, any other fans of any other clubs, Do let me know, and please be kind in the comments. But yeah, big thank you for watching. I've thoroughly enjoyed making these Project Boro episodes this season. Being able to talk about my club on this channel is something I've always wanted to do, and I'm glad I've kind of found a format and a way of doing it, and a lot of people seem to be loving it, so huge thank you for that. It'll be back in August or maybe July. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed my videos about Boro this season. Shame it couldn't go one episode longer, but yeah, I think just looking at everything, stats-wise, records-wise, it should have been Boro, but it clearly just wasn't meant to be Boro. And that's the life of a Boro fan, really. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and yeah, I'll see you all next time. Up the Boro.